As you guys know, I am building accommodation infrastructures on my farm. Once this tiny house is complete, we will bring back pigs. Then I will be taking a short break before I start building chicken coop for my poultry farming project in Congo Kinshasa. It is mid-March, the first quarter of the year. It's almost over, which means we will only have 3 quarters left. Why does it matter to me? From my personal standpoint, I feel guilty when I don't reach a goal that I set for myself at a timely fashion. Before the beginning of the year, I originally planned to have pigs back on the farm by February because I was prepared financially to get this done as quickly as possible and restart animal raising. But unfortunately, the first guy I had contracted with to build the house sacrificed his integrity for money, which obliged me to abrogate the contract. That took away some time while I was looking to find another contractor. Luckily, it did not take too long to find one. What I'm trying to say is that I'm a little bit behind the schedule, but I made adjustments in regards to completion time frame I had originally envisioned. Now I am targeting to start exactly at the second quarter of the year and see the results at the end of the fourth quarter. Overall, I feel like things are moving in the right direction. There are other farmers near me who have successfully started the animal raising, and I am one of the few that started building around this area. That is why I am a little bit hard on myself when it comes down to starting the activities. Although I would not recommend anyone to do things in a hurry, because the consequences of doing things hasty, mistakes are made, and it makes the process even longer. Sometimes when I revert to these principles, I just stop worrying and go with the flow. Maybe I turn this way because sometimes I wonder how far could I have gotten if this Bayaka and Bateke's conflict had not happened. But I am a firm believer of everything happens for a reason. And damn right, when this conflict was going on, people fled their homes. The absence of law and order made it easier for looters to steal materials from my first temporary house I built. Had I built a house using bricks, nothing would have been taken from the house. I know this because the pig barn was untouched, because in order for looters to steal valuable materials off of it, they would have needed more equipment, which they didn't have. Therefore, when I was ready to resume my farming activities, I knew I had to build a brick house, which is more safe and secure. I am sharing this with you from my experience building the pig barn and my first temporary house. Whatever you will end up investing in, whether it is real estate or something else, first of all, be honest with yourself and interrogate yourself. Am I able to make this happen? Meaning that, are you financially capable of spending what is needed to start your business, especially in Africa? Do not go the cheapest way, thinking that you can get away with it. Because cost of doing business is cheap in Africa. Trust me, it will catch up to you eventually. I went through it, and I don't want to see anyone else make this mistake. Remember the phrase that goes, go big or go home. Don't get me wrong, there are good quality options that is cost friendly, but always think about the longevity of your investments. In most African countries, there is no credit system where banks loan small business owners money to start a business. You will have to cover the cost at 100%. I have said this before, but I am a big fan of doing things single-handedly. That way, even if I fail, I do not have to stress out about repayment or blame anybody for that matter. I can make as many mistakes as I can until one day I figure out a strategy that works best.
想想我俺们是吧？
In America, everything is fast-paced and everyone is in a hurry because time is money. That does not work in Africa because African countries are not as industrialized as most Western countries. If you're investing in Africa, don't expect things to turn out the Western way. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed because the pace is different, the mentality is different. That's why I advise people to fly to Africa first, see it for themselves before making a decision to invest. One trip isn't enough to claim you have the knowledge to run a business in Africa. What you need to do is come multiple times until you feel comfortable, then you can start investing. People often come to Africa thinking that having money to invest is all you need to be successful. Then they come across con men who use them, make them spend 3 times more than the actual cost of investment, causing them to exhaust their savings and budget. Then when they don't have anything left, they abandon them and move on to their next victim. That's your warning and you're welcome. Please don't be that guy. Take as much time as you need. There is a lot of money to be made. You just have to choose your surrounding very wisely. Somehow, You will need a local guidance in whatever it is you are planning on doing in Congo or in Africa in terms of business, or in any nation for that matter. I'm from Congo Kinshasa, born and raised. But when I started my farm, I needed locals that have experience in the field to show me the ropes. You may come across a few scammers, just keep your guard up. And the only way you learn how to handle yourself is if you've been there multiple times and you have learned some of the people's behaviors and mindsets.
I can do explicar boy. Mais soit mambo na fingi wana ngai so na siliki na mambo sala mana awandi matiri ya wana. Awandi matiri. Vraiment. Attends ça la bonne marché la soir tu vas
I know this is highly unlikely to happen, but with recurring threats of nuclear war provoked by global elites, guys, whether it happens or not, you want to be prepared, because in worst case scenario, civilization as we know it will be gone, and only those who own lands and possess livestock will survive better than anybody else. If some of us are lucky enough to survive a nuclear apocalypse, I don't want to scare anybody, but in feudal societies, right before industrialization, farmers were among the most powerful people, and they still are today. And now agriculture is one of the most lucrative business you can get into. It is a $1.3 trillion industry. Just think about that for a second. That's why big corporations are trying to take over farming from small farmers in Europe. Farmers' protest in Europe is not random. These elites are making sure they have full control of food chain so that they can control us even better. That is why I keep beating the dead horse. Guys, you gotta get involved. What do we have to lose, right? The least we can do is try.